Muhammad Ali sat on the stool in the corner of the ring. He had finished training. It was 10 minutes past midnight. Angelo Dundee and the rest of the team had left 10 minutes ago. Ali liked the silence of the gym. The stillness of the heavy bags, the smell of sweat, and the coldness of the metal gave him peace. He began to untie his gloves. Just then, the main breaker of the gym was thrown. The lights went out. The darkness wasn't absolute. The yellow light of the street lamps filtered through the high windows, casting long, rectangular shadows onto the canvas of the ring. Ali didn't move. There was no sound of a door opening, no footsteps were heard. But just outside the ropes, in the opposite corner of the ring, 3 silhouettes appeared. One had his jacket buttoned. The other had his hands clasped behind his back. The man in the middle was the shortest of them all, but the other 2 stood half a step behind him. Ali continued to untie his laces. He didn't look up. "Gym's closed," Ali said. His voice was calm. It didn't echo. The man in the middle didn't answer. Slowly, he reached his hand into the inside pocket of his jacket. In that world, that movement usually meant a barrel was coming out. Ali's muscles didn't tense. His breathing didn't change. The man didn't pull out a gun. He pulled out a folded gray jacket. He placed the jacket on the ring ropes, right at Ali's eye level. "This is yours, chump," the man said. His voice was smooth. It smelled of cigarette smoke and expensive whiskey. The men turned around. Just as they had come, they silently vanished into the shadows. Ali stood up. He walked to the ropes. The gray jacket was made of expensive fabric. Ali reached into the pocket. His fingers brushed against a cold metal object. He pulled it out. In his palm lay a .45 caliber bullet. A date was scratched onto the bullet. Tomorrow's date. This wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. And in the boxing world, those who declined such invitations usually saw their careers end not in the ring, but in a hospital room or by a riverbank. Muhammad Ali tossed the bullet in the air, caught it. He smiled. The story didn't end with Ali taking that bullet to the police, because Ali didn't call the police. That night, Ali put the bullet in his pocket and decided to accept the invitation. This is the true story of the bloodiest war Muhammad Ali ever won, without throwing a single punch, using only words and his will. Mid-1960s. Boxing in America wasn't just 2 men fighting in a ring. Boxing was the backyard of organized crime. What the public saw were the champions under the spotlights. What was unseen were the men who paid for those lights. Frankie Cabo, Blinky Palermo. The names changed, but the system remained the same. They called this system the Octopus. Its arms were everywhere: managers, promoters, referees. These men decided who a boxer would fight, where they would fight, and most importantly, in which round they would fall. Sonny Liston was the system's greatest victim and its most terrifying weapon. Half of Liston's contracts belonged to illegal partners. A large portion of every dollar he earned went into the pockets of men he had never seen. Liston had accepted this. He thought he had no other choice. That was how the system worked. If you wanted to be champion, you had to sell a piece of your soul. If you wanted to climb the ranks, you had to learn to say yes. But then a kid from Louisville came along. Cassius Clay, later to be known to the world as Muhammad Ali. Ali was breaking the equation. He talked too much. He was too fast. And worst of all, he looked uncontrollable. Initially, the mob didn't take him seriously. They saw him merely as a loudmouth kid, a clown who sold tickets and filled the stands. But when Ali became champion, things changed. The heavyweight championship belt was the most valuable property in the sports world. The person holding this belt managed an economy worth millions of dollars. And organized crime could not tolerate not sitting at a table where millions of dollars were present. The circle around Ali was tightening. His managers, his lawyers, his Nation of Islam connections. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie. But one of New York's 5 families didn't want a piece. They wanted the whole pie. Ali was in his hotel room in Miami. 2 bodyguards waited at his door, but Ali had sent them inside. He placed the bullet from his pocket onto the table. Angelo Dundee was with him. Dundee's face was pale as chalk. He had been in this business for years. He understood the message. "We have to call the police, champ," Dundee said. His voice trembled. "These guys don't joke. These aren't ticket scalpers. These aren't bookies. These are—" He couldn't finish his sentence. Ali was looking at himself in the mirror. He started shadowboxing. "No police," Ali said. He threw a left jab. "No FBI. A right hook." "Then what are we going to do?" Dundee asked. "Are we going to leave town?" Ali stopped. He turned to Dundee. "I'm going to the appointment." Dundee couldn't believe it. "Where? With whom?" "They didn't even tell you a place." "They don't need to," Ali said. "They know where to find me." The clock showed 2 in the afternoon. The phone rang. Dundee reached for the phone, but Ali stopped him. He picked up the receiver himself. On the other end of the line, there was only the sound of breathing. Then an address. Blue Horizon Club. Back door. Alone. The phone clicked off. The Blue Horizon was in a part of the city where tourists didn't go. Officially, it was a jazz club. Unofficially, it was an office where all the city's dirty business was discussed. Dundee begged, "Don't go. They're trapping you. They'll force you into a contract. If you don't sign, they won't let you leave." Ali put on his jacket. Not the gray jacket. His own jacket. "I'm not going to sign anything, Ange," he said. "I'm going to teach them something." "Teach them what?" "What my name is." When Ali got out of the taxi, the street was empty. The back door of the club was a rusty pile of metal. A massive man waiting in front of the door saw Ali and signaled inside with his head. He didn't search him. Ali walked in. It was dim inside. Cigarette smoke hung in the air, forming a heavy layer. There was no music, just the faint sound of cutlery coming from a back room. Ali headed for the room. The room was large. Photos of old boxers hung on the walls. Most were names who had fought under the control of these men and were then forgotten. At the head of the table sat the short man who had come to the gym the night before. His name was Salvatore, but everyone called him the Architect. Because he built results, not fights. Sal was cutting the steak in front of him. He didn't look up. "You're on time," Sal said. "That's good. I like a disciplined man." Ali didn't sit in the chair indicated. He remained standing. Sal put down the knife. He wiped his mouth with a napkin. He leaned back. In the corners of the room, in the shadows, there were 4 more men. They all had that same expressionless look. The look of professionals waiting to do their job. "Sit down, Mohammed," Sal said. "We're going to talk business." "I'm good standing," Ali said. Sal smiled. "Suit yourself. You're young. You have energy." "I like that." He placed his hand on the file on the table. "We're watching you, son. You fight well. You're fast. But speed isn't enough in boxing. You need protection. You need support. You need the right friends." "I have friends," Ali said. "Those friends," Sal said, his voice hardening, "can't protect you when it rains. We are the umbrella. We are the roof." Sal opened the file. There was no contract inside, just a piece of paper with numbers. "Our offer is simple. 30% of your earnings. In return, your management problems are solved. The press won't bother you. And most importantly—" Sal paused. He locked eyes with Ali. "We prevent accidents. You know, athletes can get injured. They can fall downstairs. They can have car crashes. We ensure these things don't happen." The threat wasn't hanging in the air anymore. It was right in the middle of the table. 30%, or an accident. The other 4 men in the room shifted slightly. They were waiting for Ali's reaction. Waiting for him to be scared, to sweat, maybe to stutter. Ali took a step toward the table. The smile on Sal's face widened. He thought they had a deal. Ali reached into his pocket. The bodyguards in the corner reached for their jackets. Ali didn't pull out a gun. He pulled out that .45 caliber bullet. He placed the bullet upright on the table, next to Sal's plate. The clack. Sound the metal made when it hit the table was as effective as a gunshot going off in the room. "You dropped this," Ali said. Sal's smile froze. "You made a mistake giving this to me," Ali said. His voice wasn't rising, but the tone had changed. He was no longer speaking like a boxer, but like a judge. "You don't understand," Sal said. His voice was cold. "You can't leave here without our permission. This isn't an offer, Muhammad. This is a notification." Ali leaned over the table. His hands were on the wood. He was face to face with Sal. "You listen to me, little man," Ali said. The air in the room was instantly vacuumed out. No one spoke to Sal like that. "I am not Sonny Liston," Ali said. "I am not one of those boxes you buy, rent, and then throw in the trash. I said no to the United States government. They threatened me with prison. They took my title. They took my money. They took my passport." Ali took a breath. He didn't take his eyes off Sal. "The greatest army in the world couldn't scare me. Are your 4 hired men going to scare me?" Sal's face flushed. With one signal, he could end Ali right there. He had done it. He had done it before. But Ali didn't stop. "Do you know what's outside?" Ali asked. "What is it?" Sal said through his teeth. "Reporters," Ali said. "I didn't tell them I was coming here, but if I don't walk out of this door in 15 minutes, my lawyer will give them a letter." Sal paused. "What does the letter say?" "The letter has your name in it," Ali said. "It has your boss's name. It mentions that bullet you gave me last night in my gym. If I don't walk out of here, or if I trip and fall tomorrow, or if I have an accident." Ali pointed to the bullet on the table. "Yendi. The whole world will know you did it. You will be on the front pages. The FBI will be at your door. Congress will open an investigation. I will turn the lights on you." This was the mob's greatest fear. Visibility. They worked in the shadows. They grew in the dark. Ali was a searchlight. He illuminated everything he was pointed at. Sal was doing the math. They could kill Ali. It was easy. But Ali wasn't an ordinary man. He was the most famous athlete in the world. His death would bring such police pressure down on them that all their operations would stop. Their business would be ruined. For 30% from a boxer, they couldn't risk the entire empire. Sal tried to figure out if Ali was bluffing. There was no fear in Ali's eyes, no hesitation. In those eyes, there was that absolute conviction that knocked his opponents down in the ring. Sal let out a deep breath. His shoulders slumped. He took the bullet, turned it in his fingers. Then he didn't hand the bullet back to Ali. He put it in his own pocket. "You're a smart man, Mohammed," Sal said. His voice was no longer threatening. It was tired. "Very smart." He gestured to the door with his hand. "Go." Ali didn't say, "Thank you." He didn't say, "See you." He just turned around. He walked past the bodyguards without looking at them. When he reached the door, he stopped. He spoke without turning his head. "Next time you come to my gym, make an appointment. And don't turn off the lights. I don't fight in the dark. I fight under the lights." He opened the door and walked out. Outside, the Miami sun blinded his eyes. The taxi was waiting. Ali got in. The driver asked, "Where to?" "To the gym," Ali said. "My training was interrupted." That day, when Ali returned to his hotel room, Dundee was still waiting. "What happened?" Dundee asked. "What did they want?" Ali took off his jacket. He lay down on the bed. "Nothing," he said. "They just wanted a signature." "Did you give it?" "No," Ali said. "I gave them something else." "What did you give?" "The truth." Sal and his men never bothered Ali again. Other managers tried. Other groups approached. But what happened in that room that day spread like a legend in the underworld. "Don't touch Ali," they said. "That guy is crazy. That guy burns everything down." Throughout his career, Muhammad Ali fought with George Foreman's power, Joe Frazier's persistence, and the government's pressure. But one of his greatest victories was won in that dim room where no one was watching, where there were no referees, where the sound of the gong was not heard. Organized crime's greatest weapon was fear. They controlled people by threatening to destroy their futures. Ali showed them that they couldn't control a man who wasn't afraid of his future. It is easy to refuse money. It is hard to refuse fame. But refusing to compromise your principles when you are at the end of a barrel, that is much heavier than a championship belt. Sal had told Ali at the table that day, "We are the umbrella that protects you from the rain." Ali's answer was silent but clear. "I am not afraid of the rain. I am the storm itself." This story is proof of why Ali was the greatest. Not just because he had fast hands, not just because he knocked out his opponents, because even when faced with death in a dark room, he didn't sell his own light. If one day in your life someone stands before you and asks, your principles or your safety, remember that Miami afternoon and the man who put the bullet on the table. Because some things are not negotiable, like freedom, like honor, and like Muhammad Ali.